Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, and this is part 2 of What If Deku could Bloodbend. So let's not waste any time, and let's get right into it. We start off with Izuku laughing over the destroyed Zero Pointer's body. As Izuku keeps on laughing, the students wonder why Izuku is laughing so much. But the real reason is because Izuku's unable to comprehend his mother's death, and his only way of showing most of his emotions are by laughter. But the students do not know this, and they are horrified of Izuku. As Izuku is still laughing, President Mike tells everyone that the exam is over. As everyone's leaving, they see Izuku go to the restricted part of the UA campus. As Izuku gets home, he tells Aizawa and how he beat up many robots. As Aizawa smiles, he was proud and also shocked in how Izuku was able to beat so many robots. Aizawa smiles at Izuku and tells him that he should go rest up. The very next day, Izuku was surprised to see Principal Nezu personally delivering his UA letter. As Izuku grabs the letter, he rushes into his room to open the letter. As Izuku sees an All Might hologram pop out, he starts fanboying out. But he calms down and listens. All Might explains that he placed number 1 on the entrance exam, and All Might then says that he made 101 villain points and 86 rescue points. As the All Might hologram continues, he says that he's going to be one of the UA staffs this year. After Izuku hears this, he laughs in excitement, thinking that he's going to be able to meet All Might. Then Aizawa comes in, telling him that he's going to be his homeroom teacher, and then tells him that he's not going to go easy on him. Then Izuku looks up, looking at Aizawa in the face, and chuckles and tells him that nothing is too hard for him. As Izuku's first day at UA arrives, Izuku enters his classroom just to see Ida scolding Bakugo for disrespecting school property. Before Izuku could say anything, Ida rushes up to tell him that Izuku is a much better student than him. But before anyone could say anything else, Bakugo barges in to scream, "Izuku, how are you alive?" And then everyone is shocked at what just Bakugo said. But before Izuku could say anything, Aizawa walks in, telling everyone to quiet down and they better sit down right now. And then Aizawa explains that no one should ask Izuku about his past, and that's confidential information for the heroes only. As Izuku sits down and mouthing the words "thank you" to Aizawa. As the class settled down, Aizawa started to explain things to the class, but Bakugo was still in shock that Izuku was even alive. He wanted to know how he's alive. Bakugo remembered the days when Izuku's mother died, because Izuku was dead. But then he saw Izuku right in front of him. He wanted to know how. He wanted the answers right now. Then Bakugo got up and demanded Aizawa tell him how Izuku was even alive. Then at that very moment, Izuku started to laugh. Then Bakugo got up and grabbed Izuku by the collar, demanding him why he's laughing. At that very moment, Izuku started to laugh even louder. But Bakugo got even angrier and demanded Izuku to tell him how he was even alive. As Aizawa finally had enough, he took out his support gear and wrapped up Bakugo tightly. As Bakugo tried to break free, he was unable to. As Izuku looked at Aizawa and nodded, Aizawa nodded back. As Izuku went to the front of the class and he explained everything that happened to him. The class was shocked and horrified that anything like this could ever happen to someone. Izuku relieved that he can get this off his chest and he doesn't have to keep it secret anymore. As Bakugo is let out of the support gear, Bakugo comes out and says sorry to Izuku. Izuku, surprised, starts laughing of pure laughter, and everyone in class starts to laugh as well. Even Aizawa lets out a little chuckle. As everyone calms down, Aizawa starts to explain everything again. Then Uraraka asks if they're going to orientation. Aizawa explains that they don't do anything traditional here in UA, and tells everyone to put on the UA sports gear. As everyone puts it on, they all go outside. As soon as everyone is outside, Izawa throws a ball to Izuku, telling him to throw the ball as high as he can. Then Izuku makes a water whip with his hand and makes it as long as he can. Then he throws the ball as hard as he can. And then the meter comes back as 100,000 meters. And everyone was surprised that Izuku was able to throw it this far. As everyone was saying this, they were thinking that this was going to be fun, and they were saying this out loud. Then Aizawa hears this and says, "Fun? Do you think this is going to be fun?" And then tells everyone that whoever doesn't pass or get a good score is getting expelled. Izuku, knowing that this is one of Aizawa's tricks, chuckles and goes to the back of the line, while everyone else starts to take this seriously. As soon as everyone finished the events, they can see that Mineta came up last. Izuku starts to laugh, knowing that Mineta is not going to get expelled, as Mineta starts to sweat, thinking that he's going to get expelled. As Aizawa tells everyone that no one's going to be getting expelled and it's all a ruse, as Mineta releases a sigh of relief. The next day, All Might comes in, busting through the door, saying, "I'm here." As he comes in, he explains that they're going to be doing the hero versus villain training. Now we're going to skip to when they put on their hero costumes. Izuku's costume is going to be kind of like his regular costume, but it's going to have a bluish greenish tint to it, and it's going to be a bit more thick like the Northern Water Tribe's clothing, so it's going to be like that. Both Uraraka and Deku, I feel like, would be on the same team just like in canon, and both Bakugo and Ida would be in the same team just like canon, but the fight would be a bit more different. We see that both Uraraka and Deku are trying to come up with a plan. They know that Bakugo is not going to rush at them this time because he's not angry at Deku. So what their plan is right now, that their best plan of action is a sneak attack and distract. As they're thinking this, both Ida and Bakugo are fighting. As they realize that their plan might actually work, they both go up and sneak attack on both Ida and Bakugo. As both Bakugo and Ida attack Deku, Deku's blocking everything off, but Bakugo's punch almost made it and he had to use his bloodbending to stop it. But Bakugo knew that something was wrong because his punch should have hit Deku, but it just stopped. As Izuku kept on blocking and trying to use his bloodbending a bit that no one realized, Uraraka gets there, floats her way to the bomb, and grabs it. As All Might yells through the speaker, saying that the heroes have won. As Kacchan got annoyed by this, he was ready to pull the grenade gauntlets. As Izuku saw this, he used his bloodbending and slammed him to the ground. As everyone else saw this, they were all confused in what just happened. But All Might knew what happened and called over Izuku and Kacchan. As both of them go toward All Might tells Kacchan that he shouldn't have been using his gauntlets and that he's going to be telling Principal Nezu this. As All Might tells Kacchan to leave, he tells Izuku that he shouldn't have been using his bloodbending and asks him why. And then Izuku explains that if Kacchan pulled the gauntlets, they would have been in firing range of both Ida and Uraraka. As All Might realizes this, he tells Izuku that he's going to give him an exception for now, but he shouldn't have been using his bloodbending at all, and that he's only allowed to use it in extreme situations. As Izuku understands and leaves. As All Might sees Izuku leaving, he thinks that he might be a good successor for One for All. The next day, all the classes go the same for Izuku, but at the end of the day, Izuku's called by Principal Nezu. As he comes in, he sees All Might there. As Izuku's confused what's going on, All Might explains that he's going to be passing on his quirk to him, but Izuku's confused what he meant, because you can't pass on quirks. As Izuku says this, All Might explains his quirk to him and his injury. As Izuku takes a closer look at All Might's injury, he tells All Might that he might be able to heal it. As All Might is astonished what Izuku just said, Principal Nezu is also very confused. As Izuku gets closer and starts healing All Might's injury, All Might spits some blood, but all of a sudden he feels much better and feels like he can use One for All for much longer. As Izuku is astonished that he was even able to heal All Might to this degree, he was happy that he was able to help All Might. As All Might continues, he says that even if you've increased my time limit, Izuku, I'd like you to still take one for all. Izuku says that he'll think about it and he'll tell him later. Okay guys, I think this is where I'm going to leave it off. Any what if suggestions, put them in the comments. Please subscribe and like the video. And if you guys have any story suggestions, please, I would love any story suggestions. And again, subscribe to xehther, big help. He was a very big help. And other than that, I hope you guys have a good day.